welcome to the show. I'm Christopher Valentine, and with me is returning very special guest, Dr. Christian von Lahr. Lahr, world-renowned psychic medium and clairvoyant medical intuitive. Welcome back to the show, Christian.
Oh, thank you, Christopher. It's always fun being back talking about the nature spirits. You know, we must have done at least 4 books on the nature spirits. And it's amazing that there's so much information that comes from them. And what's unusual about our books is we got the information directly from them. They're channeled. And it just goes all over the place, doesn't it?
It does. And today I want to talk about magic. And the third book is called The Magic of Gnomes and Leprechauns. And this is a book primarily channeled from the leprechauns, of course.
Who's this on the cover?
Well, this is our dear Leprechaun Sprite. And he is channeled in all 4 of the books. He has this bright orange hair, beautiful emerald eyes, very white skin. When we see him, it's like there's almost no color. And this is like a perfect likeness of Sprite.
He's always bringing a lot of enjoyment and fun into our life. You know, people have some of the stories they have some experience with leprechauns, but with us, it's like every day. You get the parking spot you're looking for.
That's the gnomes.
You need money for some trip, and it just sort of comes out of nowhere.
Well, the leprechauns have told us that they can also help with time and travel, and I see that, and they have said this, they can make the lights turn green for you and get you from point A to point B very quickly. But they said, you know, we don't always like to do that, because if we're turning the lights green for you, we're turning it red for someone else, but they can help it.
Well, this is an interesting book because it's speaking or focusing on the magic of both gnomes and leprechauns, and it's hard for people perhaps to grasp where that magic could come from or how it could be real. I want to say that the term magic is actually something that was real in the past, and it's just somewhat esoteric now because we're so science-oriented and things have to follow some sort of rules of physics here in order to be real, and this was not always the case, by the way. We tend to start discounting now all of those things that mankind has known for like 40,000 years and took it as absolute fact. There was a time when everybody was seeing gnomes. Everybody was experiencing leprechauns. There is not a culture in this world where they're not real. And in fact, even today, there are countries where if it's a place that's known for leprechauns to be hanging out, you can't build the road there.
Oh,
they can stop construction.
Yes.
In America, of course, it's like we're like in our own little world, and we're so science-oriented, and we sort of have to stop doing that because mankind wasn't just put here to experience the physical realm. We exist in 7 great realms of existence. We're only learning a piece of it now when we're just using our mind. We can experience all sorts of things. Nature spirits, angels, life in other worlds, all sorts of things. Magic, as we're going to talk about today.
So it sounds like you're saying our consciousness is seated here on the physical plane, but through meditation maybe, or what? Are we expanding our awareness so we can experience more?
That's the right word, consciousness. Man isn't a physical being. That just happens to be where we're at right now. We weren't always physical. We didn't start out being dense like this. During Atlantean times, we were almost translucent, and that's where we get connections to mermaids and mermen and Atlantean people. And before that was Lemurian, in which case we were literally invisible to what we think of now. But our consciousness shifts, and now we're at that densest stage. But when you're steady enough, when you experience enough, when you don't let the world say you didn't have those invisible friends when you were a child, when you hear those voices and see the fun little people around you saying, oh, let's go to the theme park today, listen to them. That inner child is something, but it's trying to show you that we exist at many different levels. We're just focused right now. And so if we want to experience the nature spirits or other kinds of life like angels, we have to let our consciousness do its work and let us be aware of different realms.
And that's like intuition. A lot of people say that they sense the nature spirits around them, and that's the same thing, right?
Yeah, but you see right there, if they say they sense them, then you need to acknowledge you got something. Some people say, I sort of could have, should have, might have, wanted to get something off to the side of me. Well, if they're having that perception, they did. It's only your subconscious mind that's saying, no, no, no. Most of us don't see anything to the right or left of us. Most of us don't see anything running across the bedroom floor. But the fact is, we actually do. That subconscious mind that controls us is such a programming force it makes it go away. We don't experience it, in which case we start getting problems with our ears, problems with our eyes, problems with our throat, when you block these other senses that want to awaken. Now, what's important about the nature spirits, as opposed to the other realms that we could be talking about, is the nature spirits are trying to come into our lives right now, because we've literally taken over the world. Where are they going to go? I mean, everything was forest and river at one time, but right now, it's highways and Target stores and Sears and things like that, and hamburger stands. So they need to start working with us, and so they're going to do something. If we invite them into our lives when they ask to be, and they show and prove themselves, then your life becomes more empowered. You actually get younger. You find those relationships you're looking for. The boss is actually understanding of you today, because we changed our energy, or actually the nature spirits can change the energy around us. They work with energy. They can make us say the right thing. They can make us avoid something or do something new that we don't normally do.
Or run into that soulmate, or prepare us for that soulmate that they know is coming up. And they said they can actually make our energy brighter and more vibrant to make us look better.
So although this is magic to most people, technically they're using the divine forces of nature, which we have deliberately decided to ignore, and we never did before.
And the nature spirits have said this also, is that it seems like magic to us, but it's not to them. They're just using the normal forces all around them, and they're able to operate at a little bit higher than us, and that's how they make so many of these magic.
A little higher vibration, I think you're saying. Yeah.
Higher vibration and subplane.
Yeah, but that higher vibration, or existing in different realms of consciousness, as we say, is acknowledging that instead of just being locked into this physical, we do have some connection to other realms. That's why we have chakras. It's saying, well, I'm going to let the heart chakra work a little bit stronger today, in which case I'll pick up things psychically. If you just come down a half a notch, you're going to be seeing and experiencing nature people, because you don't even have to be psychic. And here's why nature people are real. They make the minerals and the elements and the essences and the colors, and they build form in this universe. Something had to coax all those primordial gases to start taking some sort of shape. And you know, the 7 shows up in the universe all the time. Things take triangular shapes, dots, lines, squares. They bring form to matter, and that's why nature spirits were called the builders of form in all ancient texts. But they're doing things right now, and we can perceive them because they exist in a way that's just a little bit lighter than our perception. For example, we have air around us which is dense. It isn't solid, but yet it is considered dense. There are atoms of hydrogen and helium and oxygen, all these minerals in there, but yet most people can't see them.
A clairvoyant, though, can.
I can. I can actually see them, and any good clairvoyant can not only see that, we can literally see the fabric of space.
Which reminds me of the movie The Matrix. Is it really like a matrix that people don't realize that we're living in?
Yeah, if I see the world disappearing, okay, and of course your mind doesn't want that to happen because you're worried about losing your grasp there, but you will actually see that it's sort of constructed like a golden mesh, which is actually how we look like when we're actually born ourselves. And the nature people start bringing minerals and elements to our gold mesh, and we start taking physical form in the womb. But we have a natural ability to perceive things on the physical, whether we're psychic or not. We can see these things lighter than air, and the nature spirits are a little bit lighter than air. It's like looking at glass underwater. But the reason we don't see them is simply because we don't use the right part of our eye.
Yeah, I remember talking about that last episode and how we can do that. But even though we live in a more scientific-oriented society, you know, there is such a thing as, I'm sure you've heard, a woman's intuition, or even a man has intuition too, and that goes back to clairsentience. So people are feeling things, they are sensing things around them. You know how you've heard the story, and I mean, you've probably experienced this yourself, a lot of people, is the phone rings, but you know it's going to ring right before it does, and not only that, you know who's going to be on the other end. You were just thinking of them.
Yeah, so, no, that's, again, you're talking about psychic abilities, and that's precognition. We don't have to go that high to see nature spirits, okay? It's actually as simple as learning to use the outer part of your eye, which means having that blurred vision. We've shared many techniques on how to do that, looking at things that have natural depth. And it takes about 3 days to train yourself, and only a few minutes a day over 3 days, and you suddenly start using this outer part of your eye. Now, you know, Christopher, back in the days of dinosaurs, or even not that far back, we couldn't just go to sleep like we do now on our slumber beauty rest number 9s. Saber-toothed tigers are out there. All snakes, everything's out there that could be dangerous. So we had to use the outer part of our eyes. Our eyes were slightly open to catch movement and motion. That's why today we have these rod structures on the outer side of our eyes. And again, you see shapes and intensities, like outlines of people on the other side, or outlines of nature spirits, okay? And it's also why you get motion off to the right or left, because anything not into our four subplanes of dimension comes in at some angle to us. So when you're sensing or seeing or feeling or hearing something at an angle to you, say you got it, there's something there. Who has to know? It's just you. Spend a few days and find out that it's true.
That is amazing, and I want to talk about the leprechauns some more, and magic, and that special tie to mushrooms that the leprechauns have when we come back.